welcome to the Opposition Preview. So, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Bleed Norwich YouTube channel. It's midweek championship action this week, and it's the bottom of the table clash, Sheffield Wednesday against Norwich City. I think one of us probably expected to be in the bottom of the table clash, and the other one probably not so much. But here we are, and I
Yeah,
think the mood in both fans is that very different. I think Sheffield Wednesday fans are very much upbeat and Norwich fans very much not. But we have Joe from the StarOwls with us. Joe, how are you today, mate?
yeah, it's steady on. Getting by. Every passing day is a day closer to having a new owner. So I think that's where everyone's at the moment. Just looking forward to a new dawn and all that.
Yeah, because it's been sort of a very interesting sort of start to the season, I guess the summer as well, and even the past few years with the whole Chancery saga. Yeah, do you want to just break it down for us? Obviously, you're now in administration, and
Where
yeah, a
am I
whole lot's gone
starting?
on. We'll start from the start of the season or the summer. We'll go from
Yeah,
there.
look, I mean the Sheffield Wednesday have been they've been a bit of a roller coaster for quite a while now. The Chancery years will end up being a book at some point. I'm sure me and my colleague Alex will be asked to write that at some point. But yeah, it all sort of came to a head over the last 7 months or so. Um, Wednesday have had problems with people not getting paid for, it's been happening on and off for a few years. But this year it got to a point where I think there was a stage where 5 of 7 months guys weren't paid on time. And, we're not just talking players here, we're talking people working the ticket office, people working the club shop, normal everyday people that have got mortgages and, bills to pay and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it got to a stage where the protests really ramped up. There's a lot of stayaways, lots of boycotts. Boycotting basically every part of merchandise, every part of anything that's sold in the concourse, pints, pies, everything. And yeah, I think there was a point when it looked like the IFR, the football regulator, was Wednesday's best way out, but there was always this sort of lingering thing in the background that administration might push things along. And the complication was that the Chancery is the one who would have to put Wednesday into administration, and he got to a stage where it was either a winding up order or that, and that's where we are now. So yeah, I don't think you've ever seen a football club so happy to go into administration. It was even though it's horrible and there's it's horrid for the people involved. It is the beginning of the end now, and Sheffield Wednesday fans were genuinely, for the most part, like very happy to see an administrator come in, and yeah, it just makes the season, what is already a difficult season, even harder because yeah, that -12 kind of puts a bit of a dampener on things.
Well, I'm pretty sure I speak for most Norwich fans. If things don't change with us, I'm pretty sure you'll catch up fairly swiftly. But yeah, it's a very interesting saga what's gone on at Sheffield Wednesday this whole season. It's great to see that you guys have sort of got your mojo back. Fans are coming into the stadium, spending bucket loads of money in the club shop
Yeah.
and the concourses, and that's always great to see because no football club should go under or should be under bad ownership. And what Chancery's done for years has been awful. But there is sort of that feel good factor with Sheffield Wednesday fans now. Obviously, now you've gone into
Mhm.
administration, you might be on -5 points, but I guess relegation was kind of, I guess, already accepted come the start of the
Yeah.
season. So anything now, I guess, is it a win?
It is a strange situation because I think most people had look, don't ask the players because they obviously they don't want to go down. They're a good professional bunch of lads, and that they will be never say die sort of thing. But from a fan perspective, I think if you'd offered Sheffield Wednesday, not that it should be a choice, but if you'd offered them the chance to get rid of Chancery but end up in League One, they'd have taken it. Sheffield Wednesday have needed a hard reset for quite a while now. I mean, you look at all the teams that have been up to the Premier League and back down. I mean, obviously, I know Norwich have done it a few times. Wednesday went down in 2000 and just never went back up again. It's been a long 2 or 3 decades, and yeah, I think now there's a real feeling amongst Wednesday fans that if the right owner comes in, if the sale goes through to the right person, then Wednesday could, not immediately, but they could start building towards being the sort of club that everyone can be proud of again.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it was, it's probably like just less than a decade ago where you guys were fighting in the Championship playoffs and,
Mm,
almost getting to the Premier League yourselves. So we're not a million miles away from that. So, like you say, if the right owner does come in for you guys and does bring you up, and in 5, 10 years' time, who knows where you could be. But we'll just
yeah,
talk about
fingers
a few of
crossed.
your players because obviously it is a very much a depleted squad after everything that's gone on.
Yeah,
But
that's one way of putting it.
there is definitely there's still some talent in there. I think the key name is Barry Bannon. I think he is, an excellent professional and just technically brilliant to watch at times. How important is it to still have him at the club?
I don't think important does him justice. I genuinely feel like if Barry had not signed a new contract over the summer on pretty ridiculous terms by modern football standards, because he wanted to be part of the fight, because he wanted to, you know, give back to the club that he feels has given him so much and to the fans. I think it all falls apart. Like genuinely, I think if because there was a point when the wage situation was so bad that players were able to hand in their notice. We saw Josh Windass leave, we saw Michael Smith go, and I think if Barry Bannon hadn't stayed, I think we might have seen a few more. And I think there is probably going to come a point when in the future, something needs to be named after him at Sheffield Wednesday, whether it's a stand or a statue or something. What that man has done for Sheffield Wednesday is incredible. And yeah, he's quite good at football as well. And he's shown that this season. He's very much in the age is just a number sort of thing. He's still in games dictating things. And it's funny, I always notice after games opposition fans going, "Oh, Barry Bannon always does this against us. He always turns up and plays like this." It's like, no, he's just that good. Like it's what he does. It's not nothing against your team. He just does this quite regularly. Obviously, it's a lot to ask of a guy who's I think he's 35 now, Baz. It's a lot on the body, but he's very good at managing his own body. He's very rarely injured. And yeah, if Wednesday are going to do anything good, Barry Bannon's usually involved in it.
Yeah, he's certainly aged like fine wine, hasn't he? But just talking about sort of expectations surrounding Sheffield Wednesday. Obviously, we spoke about prior to the season, the expectation and realization is relegation for Sheffield Wednesday come the end of the season. With obviously going into administration, is there maybe some sort of level of hope now that if get the right owner in and have that feel good factor around the club, go on a decent run because you haven't really been well beaten apart from the Coventry game and maybe the
Mhm.
Bristol City game. You haven't been well beaten in games. You've been in games.
Yeah,
So is there maybe a glimmer of hope with with some teams performing badly, i.e. Norwich? Do you think there is maybe a level of hope that you could maybe survive?
I think there's always. I mean, we've seen as Sheffield Wednesday fans, especially, but football in general, we've seen mad things happen. What happened with Wednesday and Peterborough a couple of years back, that will forever live in the memory of being like this is our nuts. Football is so never write anything off. I think the problem that Wednesday have got is that you look at we're already running on empty in terms of the players available. The bench against West Brom the other day, literally 8 of the 9 players were academy kids, and the one that wasn't is Charlie McNeil, who's only 22 himself. So. Um, what happens going forward could largely depend on how lenient the EFL want to be in terms of letting us potentially bring in a few free agents and stuff like that. Wednesday got fee restrictions till 2027, so unless the new owner comes in and is able to appeal those, Wednesday won't be signing anybody in January for transfer fees, even if they do appeal it and they are successful. I'd be surprised if they'd let them do anything in Jan. So I think Wednesday are, for the most part going to be running with got what they've currently got, and injuries are already starting to pile up a little bit because there's kids out there who are doing more than they probably should be, being thrown into a situation that is more extensive than what they where they should be at. So I think there's always a little bit of hope. We'll see what happens in terms of like probably the next 2 or 3 months. See what happens in January if Wednesday are allowed to bring anybody in. But I think the other problem is that Yeah, I mean, you say there about Norwich. I think you look at a lot of the other teams in the league, and you do expect them to start picking up bits and bats. And uh, Wednesday probably going to get another point deduction. I don't think -12 will be the last one we see. There's multiple breaches that Sheffield Wednesday, well, that Chansiri did, that will affect the club. I think the general consensus amongst Wednesday fans is if you're going to deduct his points, just get it done with. Like, so get them all off. We'll have the lowest points type total the championship's ever seen, but at least we'll have a line run underneath it. So stick us on -36 and be done with it.
Yeah, no, I love the attitude because it's you've got your football club and anything else that goes alongside it doesn't really matter because you've got that back. And yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
an excellent attitude to have. But looking forward to the game, what can we expect from Sheffield Wednesday? I guess tactically, style of play, what's sort of been the main consensus so far this season?
So I mean, look, I don't think it's giving any club secrets away. If you can stop Barry Bannon, you've got a good chance of stopping Sheffield Wednesday. We've seen it happen for years and years and years. Someone, if a team is able to mark Barry out the game, you stand a pretty good chance of getting something. Um, Wednesday they've been using wing backs for the bulk of this season. Henrik Pedersen is very big on energy levels, and I think it's one of the things that it was a byproduct of what happened over the summer. Wednesday didn't have a proper preseason, so they're still building up those levels even now. So the squad isn't quite where he wants it to be. But the one thing that you've got with this group of Wednesday players is that they all had a chance to leave for free. So if they're still here, they're really down for the fight. And I think that's what Wednesday are offering is they're offering a little bit of doggedness and there's been they've probably not been in games for as long as they'd want to be in games. And one of the things Henrik said after the West Brom draw the other day was that he was pleased that they were sort of on it for 95 minutes, which is not something we've necessarily seen that much of this season. They've played really well in spells. They've matched practically every team they've played for periods. But then there's just that little bit lacking that they've not been able to see out games or whatever it might be. And yeah, I think from a Wednesday perspective, this is an interesting one because obviously the one thing that Wednesday do have at the moment is a little bit of hope and a little bit of buoyancy because of everything that's going on. And obviously your place is the polar opposite on that front. So I think that's probably something that Henrik's getting into the boys and going, look, these guys are, their confidence is shot. They're under a load of pressure. Like, let's go and try and get something here because it's a big night for Wednesday. It's being billed as a blue and white night at Hillsborough, and big crowd expected. It's being billed as this sort of a way of advertising Sheffield Wednesday Football Club to prospective owners. It's a good chance to do that. So hopefully the atmosphere is bouncing, and I'm sure you've been at various points in time. Hillsborough, when it's on it, is a very difficult place to play.
Yeah, I think that's what Norwich fans fear a lot is that we are going to go to a cauldron of noise, and Hillsborough will be bouncing. They will be backing the players, and yeah, it's just whether we can sort of tackle that adversity and early in the game and get a goal and quiet the fans up, I guess, as quickly as possible. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that happens as a Norwich
Yeah, I
fan.
think that is one thing. If you can get an early goal and dull things at Hillsborough, then you got a real chance. But the longer it goes on and the longer it's tight, I think Wednesday will fancy the chances. I mean, even against West Brom the other day, away at the Hawthorns, it was a little bit sort of shaky at the start of the game, but by the time it finished, they were probably pretty aggrieved they didn't get more than just a point in the end because they've got that bit of quality there. Like there are players there and who have got that, who are good footballers, and they've got players who are giving everything for this football club. So it feels like like one of those sort of written in the stars moments. This one, I hope I'm not dooming the team to defeat with that, but it does feel like if Wednesday were gonna, Wednesday's own form's been bobbing, so if they were going to win one, this is probably the one to win.
Yeah, no, that's it. Norwich are a team very much in the dumps at the minute, and if there's any time to play us, it is on Wednesday night.
Wednesday do have a knack historically for rolling out the red carpet there. Whenever there's anyone who's in need of a victory, get yourself down to Hillsborough and we'll help you out.
Yeah, do you know what we're gonna need it. But obviously, you spoke briefly on sort of players that do have good footballing quality in that Wednesday side. Obviously, you spoke about Barry Bannon. Is there anyone else that Norwich fans should keep an eye out of?
Jan Valerie's been really good. Jan is he was signed by Danny Röhl, the previous manager, but he's played for Southampton. He's actually a fullback by trade. He's a right back, but Henrik's seen something in him and he's pushed him more central. So him and Barry are the sort of the central two at the moment, and that's worked out really well. Jan's a very good player, a very good football brain. Svante Ingolson has got like a ridiculous engine on him, so he'll be bombing about all over the place. Dome Orfa was great against West Brom. Max Lowe's been a very good signing for Sheffield Wednesday. I think there's a lot of talk about Bailey Kadamari up front as well. He's the son of former Everton player Danny Kadamari, which don't make me feel great about my life that he's 20 now. But that Bailey's a player that he's a real bulldog. Like he will chase down everything. I'm expecting to see Bailey back in the starting 11 for this one. But yeah, so there's a few there that have, there's probably a few that I've not mentioned, but the Wednesday are still having to use players that are, academy kids. There's Sean Facera, who's going to be probably playing right wing back, who was a right wing back growing up, has spent the last few years playing as a centre mid, and now all of a sudden it's like, right, we need you, get yourself in. So yeah, there's a lot of that in this Wednesday team at the moment. Um, could do with a few goals though. I think it's a big thing that Wednesday have been lacking this season is, they've been creating plenty, they've just not been scoring enough.
Yeah, there is a lot of sort of championship quality and sort of experience as well that you've got in your side. Like when you name names like Jan Valery and Max Lowe, those are players that have been around the EFL and
Mm.
do know what it takes to win games. But when it comes to sort of looking at Norwich, this Norwich side, is there anyone that you're fearful of going into Wednesday?
To be honest, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but not really, because I don't like. I've stopped worrying about other teams at this point because Wednesday have the manager Henrik has been very big on um, trying to control the controllables and affect the things that you can affect yourself. And I think that's kind of rubbed off on everybody Wednesday are trying to have um, this mentality of I suppose it's siege mentality in it. It's like us against the world now, and I think that especially with how things have been going for Norwich this season, in years gone by, you'd go with like Josh Sargent, yeah, he's going to be a problem. And it's just like there isn't really anyone at Norwich that I've sort of heard is pulling up any trees this season, and I think that's um, probably a good thing for Wednesday to be in a position where I mean I know you've had some like mad injuries yourself as well. Like you're in double figures, right, in terms of the players who are
Yeah,
unavailable at
we
the
were. I
moment.
think we've picked up a few more now as well. We've had players come back, and then we've had a couple
Mm.
more that have been out injured that are now injured for lengthy spells. So it's a never ending cycle. It seems like with Norwich.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can relate to that for sure.
Absolutely. But we'll go on to one of the final segments of this opposition preview, and it's the quiz question that we have is five players that have played for Norwich and Sheffield Wednesday. I've got a few written down here, but obviously if you can name any from the 90s or early
I was
early,
going to say, how far back can we go?
you can go back as far as you want.
I'm trying to. I mean, the obvious one's Gary Hooper.
Gary Hooper, yeah.
How was he for you? Because he was bloody brilliant for us.
He was slightly underwhelming. I think he came
Right.
joined us from Celtic with a big reputation. There was moments where he was brilliant, but there's also just moments where he just didn't live up to the hype.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was great for us. Did Nigel Worthington play for you?
Oh God, I'm gonna have to look at this. This is Nigel Worthington. I know he managed us.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe because he played. I can't remember if he was. I know he had a Norwich link, but
Yeah, he never
um,
played. He did manage us. So yeah.
right, okay. Grant Holt.
Grant Holt. Well, did he play for Sheffield Wednesday?
I feel like feel like he spent a bit of time on loan with us.
He did. He did. He was with you in 2003. So yeah, that is a
Yeah,
great shout. Yeah.
I was 13. Um, trying to think who else. This is going to be one of those where you're going to tell me all these names afterwards. I'm going to be like, obviously, that guy. Koku.
This is really Effinakog. Uh,
Did he play for Norwich?
he did play for Norwich and he did play for Wednesday. Yeah, he is.
Oh no, he definitely played for us. We used to call
Yeah.
him the Chief. Yeah, he definitely was one of ours. I'm struggling for another one.
Two more.
Um,
There is a lot of recent ones. One of them is one of the best championship strikers that has been around in the last two
oh, of
decades.
course, Jordan Rhodes. Yeah,
Rhodes, yeah. Then you've got one who's currently at Newcastle.
at Newcastle.
Yeah, he's one of their better players as well.
No, not one of the Murphy brothers, Jacob Murphy.
It is Jacob Murphy. Yeah,
Did he play for you? I didn't know he played for Norwich.
came through Norwich's academy.
Oh, right, I didn't know that. I tell you, here's one that's really obscure because he never actually played for Wednesday, I don't think, but he was on our books. Jake Keane, the goalkeeper.
Jackie, oh, of course. That name does ring
Um,
a bell. Yeah, I had names like Akin for Maywu.
oh, of course, yeah, yeah. That I in my head, I'm going backwards, but yeah, I think we signed Akin from you, or
Yeah,
did we
yeah,
get him from
yeah.
Scotland? I know we did sign him from you because I think we still owed you money for him about till about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, there was him. He only made, I think, one Premier League appearance off the bench for Norwich. You had Danny Bath, um,
Oh yeah, yeah,
Jacob Butterfield as well.
yeah. That we don't talk about Jacob Butterfield at Wednesday.
Neither will we at Norwich. He was dreadful. I think we shipped him off as soon as we got him. But yeah, just to finish off, what is your score prediction going into Wednesday's game?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna 2-1 Sheffield Wednesday. That is head and heart. I think with this one, I just feel like, given the occasion, there's a little bit more at stake for Wednesday in this one, and I'm hoping everyone can pitch up and do what they need to do.
Well, I'm hoping Norwich can change their fortunes, but I'm not too optimistic. So I'm just sticking with a 1-1 draw. I'm just hoping
That'll do.
I'm just hoping that Norwich score. But Joe, thank you very much for coming on Bleed Norwich today. We will leave all of the Start Owl links in our description down below. And Bleed Norwich fans, make sure you like and subscribe, follow all our socials, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.